And it's called it's listed under the discussion section on your agenda. Fairness to Veterans for Infrastructure Investment Act, and the number was HR 1694. So David's gonna give us kind of an update and overall brief on what that legislation is about and where things are today.
All right.
Okay.
So, good morning, Joe, Rick, thank you guys so much for inviting me. Lori, I'd be remiss if I not thanked you as well. So, HR 1694 is something the Legion and Vet Force has been working on for a long time. The title pretty much speaks for itself and what it's about. Currently, within the Department of Transportation's budget, there's a good 80% of it that is not eligible for veteran small businesses to compete in because it runs off the Highway Trust Fund. And let me just take a step back and explain what the Highway Trust Fund is. Every time you guys fill up your gas tank, you pay 1 or 2 cents per gallon, which goes to the federal government, which helps to pay for our roads, bridges, and infrastructure. It's in a huge trust fund that is allocated by Congress to the Department of Transportation, but the Department of Transportation headquarters actually doesn't touch any of that. It goes right to the states. Okay? So the way it goes to the states, it's not susceptible to the federal small business goaling. Okay? Because it's a program that's run by the states. Now, some of the states have been really great in onboarding veteran-owned small businesses, and some have not. So what this legislation does is to just say that that make veteran-owned small businesses eligible to at least compete for this pot of money. So it's really simple. I mean, we're talking one line item on an existing bill. So I really can't do any better than Clark, who wrote the summary for you guys on the bill.
What he's referring to is the sheet attached in your agenda package. One of our veteran business owners submitted some comments to it for us to take a look at. I'm going to be on the line shortly.
And I see a lot of familiar faces here, so I'm pretty sure if you haven't heard me talk about it, you've heard Victor talk about it, or Joe. So I'm not going to belabor, our advocacy points. What I will give you guys an update on is where we are in the legislative process. So a few months back, I think I told you guys that we were able to get it past the House, which was a tremendous win for us. But since then, we kind of hit a brick wall. And I'm talking like Donald Trump-sized brick wall. Because this is what happened. Since it was passed during the time of the VA's NVSBE.
Yeah, back in November.
Yeah, we were on pins and needles waiting for stuff to happen while we were out there. Congress has passed a Highway Reauthorization Act, but they didn't call it the Highway Reauthorization Act. The way we wrote our bill was for a line item to be added within a program amendment added to the Highway Reauthorization Act. So since the new Highway Reauthorization Act is called the FAST Act, the parliamentarians within Congress have thought that, well, it's not clear enough if the intent was there for everything to ride through in the Highway Reauthorization Act versus the FAST Act, which is kind of ludicrous because we all know the FAST Act is supposed to be the Highway Reauthorization, but I'm not going to argue with those folks, So what's happening is they're probably going to send it back and to have it voted on again, but, I hope nobody's on the phone. That's from Congress.
It's the speaker's office, but
Okay.
don't worry about it.
All right. But seriously, who would vote against a piece of legislation called Fairness for Veterans. You're committing political suicide, as far as I'm concerned. But I digress. So what we're gonna do to try to force the House to vote on it faster is to get the Senate side, who we already been working with, to actually introduce the bill with the right language, changing out highway reauthorization for the FAST Act, which forces it back into the House, hopefully for a floor vote, because otherwise we'd have to do it through the House, and it's not a guarantee that they'll bring it out on the floor fast enough. So, in a nutshell, that's where we're at. It is quite a huge obstacle because Congress, by the time we get it out of the Senate committee, we might have only 1 or 2 weeks to get the House side to vote on it, because that's when Congress is in session before the end of the year. So we only have 1 or 2 weeks on the House side to step up the game there again.